Hello and welcome back for our third part of the logistic regression modeling unit, and we're predicting credit card approvals from the Kaggle guided project. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're getting into the modeling section now, so we're going to start with a logistic regression. And logistic regression is used for classification problems. So it's not a simple linear regression. It's a linear regression that passes through a sigmoid function, which creates an S-curve and allows us really to decide one class or the other class. So logistic regression is really perfect for binary class predictions, and that's what we're working on today. So we'll be using logistic regression. A simple way to do this is we'll call the logistic regression model and we're assigning it to log, but let's also do two steps in one and go fit. Let's go fit X train and Y train. So we're going to train this as we're calling the model, so we don't have to do this in 2 lines of code. So we'll assign the model, and then we're going to do our predictions. And this is so we can do the confusion matrix down below. So we'll go log our model dot predict. And so we're just going to give it X train. And then what we're going to do, I like to be a professional coder and copy and paste. So we'll copy and paste this down below, and we'll go dot test. So X train dot X test. We're not giving it the Y train because we're just predicting the Y. And so we'll run those. And while we're here, we'll also quickly grab the scores of the model. So we'll go log dot score. And we want to go X train. And we're getting the score. So we're going to be evaluating how good it is. So we'll go Y train here as well. And then because we're professional coders, we're going to copy and paste this. And we're going to call this test. So there we go. And so this is going to be our test score and our train score. And there we go. So we'll look at those in a second. What we're going to quickly do first is look at the confusion matrix. And as we learned in classes, this is a way for us to determine really accuracy. How many times right were we out of the whole data set is misleading sometimes on how predictive your model is. In terms of what really matters is making one error versus the other error can have a very different business use case. So it's important to consider how errors are being made when we're building our model. So we really want to use a confusion matrix. Very important to understand how to inspect our predictions. So we'll go here. This will be included. This is the confusion matrix plot. This looks a little long, but really it's to get the nice formatting from this plot. But the idea is we're giving it Y, the true value of Y, the predicted values, and we're going to give it a name for our plot here. And so what we'll do is we'll call this confusion matrix plot that we just created up above. And then we're going to give it Y trains or actual values, and then Y pred train, and we're going to call this is going to be the test one. Let's make sure we run the cell above, and we run this, and you can see here we got some errors over here predicted yes. So okay, what we can also do here is we'll run the same thing. So confusion matrix plot, and we'll run this on Y dot test, Y pred, and test. Run both of these. We're going to change this. We're going to go data set equals to test. This is just to print the title of the graphic. As we can see here, test confusion matrix, and we make some errors right here, 18 errors on the predicted yes. So we're going to assign those scores quickly. We'll assign those scores to a list. We're going to call the model log. We're going to put them as a dictionary, and then we'll put the dictionary into a data frame. And so we get just a nice little printout. We get an 87% score, so 87% accuracy and 87% testing. So we're not overfitting. We have a good model. It's a good prediction, but what we can do, let's try and see if we can improve that. So what we'll do here, we'll do Y pred train, and we're going to reassign the Y train. We're putting this back into our data frame for inspection. So we'll go Y train. So we're putting back in our target variables so that we can use them for predictions. So here we'll go Y pred test. So we're basically adding in our predictions and the actual values to allow us to sort for them. And we'll go last one, y test. So we run this and we can see that, so we'll have those now in our data frame. This will be valuable because in the next frame, we're going to look at logical indexing. So just to break this down, we have one logical statement here when x train is equal to 0 and pred train is equal to 1. So we've chosen to focus on when these are 0 and we've actually guessed as 1. So we've chosen to focus on this error here. And so we're group by, and this will show us just a nice little mean of a few categories. So train, bank customers, and so on in all of these categories. So we have a good sense of how the features are lying. But what we want to do then is we want to take the group by and have a comparison of this. So if we run the next cell, we're going to get a view and we can see how in contrast these matter. So just going to point out a couple of these features. It's good to inspect this, one by one. But really what we're going to look for here is that, so difference between higher age. So age was one of the ones that were different. So when we look at this, we can see age is 33. On average, the age is 33 for the class that was approved. But when we kind of made a mistake here, we predicting those people as well for the age here, but we can see that lots of the people that were not approved were actually a little bit younger. So this gives us some insight into how we can engineer features for the value. Another thing to point out here is the income feature is 133. We can see here that that's also 130, 140 for the y values, but the average for the 1 values is 523. So there's a very big difference here as well. So we could try and build a feature to emphasize those. And we can go on and on, but those are the two biggest features in this data set for comparison. If we look at the income of just the error map or where we made the errors, so we're using the same logical indexing that we did up above. We're going to just look at the one column feature and we're putting this into a disk plot. And we can see here that lots of our features or lots of our mistakes happen for those clients with a lower income. So maybe we can engineer a feature to make it work better. And we'll do the same thing. We're just going to look at the age for where we made the errors as well here. And we can see that we do have kind of a disproportion of errors that are above 50. So there could be a hint there in how we engineer the features as well. Okay. So we have just some points. We see that errors happen usually above 40. They're concerned about prior defaults and that the slightly more for gender 0. So we have a few of these, and I would add in here income as well would be pretty obvious as well, or obviously different between our predictions. So what we'll do here is we'll look at our classification report. These are just some ideas of what we can look at to inspect our modeling a little bit more and inspect our data set. So we'll see here. I have all of this ready for you because this is a model that we don't use. This is using Yellowbrick Visualizer, Yellowbrick library. And so this is the classification report from Yellowbrick Road. The way that you typically do is you assign it to a visualizer, you fit your visualizer on X and Y, and then you give it the score X and Y for your test set as well. So show. The big thing about this is it shows us the context of our precision if it were class 1 or if our precision were class 2. So this helps us define a little bit better where we're making the errors instead of just a confusion matrix, which basically puts a confusion matrix. When you're thinking of accuracy, it puts everything in the context of 1 when you're calculating precision and recall. So this gives us a precision and recall if we were actually focusing on target 0 instead of target 1. So this gives us a little bit more texture. We'll look at the ROC area under the curve. This just gives us a sense of where we could maybe set our thresholds, our positive rates, and we can see here that we actually have pretty good. We can see that our area under the line is actually quite large. So we should be getting a pretty good score here. And you can see here that the area under the is 93. Ideally, we'd like this to go right up into the corner and all the way off to the right. So we're just looking to see that it is actually pushing it. We are able to differentiate between the two classes. Okay, so looking at one more. So precision recall curve is so we're going to import this from Yellowbrick Road. Our classifier precision recall curve, we give it the model. We then fit visualizer, we then score the visualizer, and then we show the visualizer, just like we've done up above. And looking at this, this shows it's an important concept to understand, but precision and recall is kind of like a give and take relationship. As we improve one, we're likely going to be reducing. As we're more certain on predicting one, we're actually going to sacrifice our predictions on the other side to be more certain. So this is why we always have to be concerned about our use case for the data set. So one last visualizer from Yellow Brick Road. So we'll go classifier, discrimination threshold. We'll give it the log, and we have two classes, zeros and ones. We'll fit this just like we've done. We'll score this, and we'll show the visualizer. And this helps highlight and illustrate the give and take relationship between precision and recall. You can see the blue line, as precision is increasing, we're going to be decreasing our recall. So if we're really concerned with one score, one precision or recall score, we can move the threshold to one side, but we would then be sacrificing, we'd be making more errors on the other side. So it really depends on our business use case. So next we'll look into engineering features.